Welcome to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida's new and exciting weekly radio show. A show focused on businesses in Bay and surrounding counties. Business Between the Lines is hosted by Kristi Kirkland, a business accelerator with Answer Marketing, and co-hosted by Jayson Price, a video guru with Riplify Media.
Hey, Jayson.
Hey, Kristi.
Welcome back, everyone, to ESPN Northwest Florida's Business Between the Lines show. We are back again, and after we have each one of these shows, we always get together and we start brainstorming topics, people, issues, things that are going on in our community. What would we like to bring in? And I know one of the topics we're going to be covering today is about our community and just that philanthropic attitude and just kind of some of those mindsets that maybe some of us just need a little bit of an adjustment to learn really what that means. Yeah. And when we were talking about that, there's no one I would rather have on the show than a very good friend of mine, Bryan Taylor. He is with United Way of Northwest Florida, and he has been with them for almost 14 years, since 2008. So he has a lot of experience in that industry in the nonprofit world and stuff, and just what we can do to help our community and just some insights and stuff. But I can't wait to share his value. He's also what I call one of my happy people. I have different names or different thoughts that go through my mind whenever I have people that are around me, and it's like, you know, those really aggressive, like Larry Perry. I see him in red when I picture him, because he's just this strong, dominant kind of. And then I think Jayson, and I think yellow. He's my happy person. Bryan Taylor is like that. If you've ever spent more than a couple minutes with him, you just smile. He just makes you feel good. And I love sharing people like that with you guys. So stay tuned. Don't go away. We will be right back with Bryan Taylor from United Way. Hey, Jayson.
Hey, Kristi.
Hey,
Bryan.
Hello, Kristi. Good afternoon, Jayson.
Yeah. And welcome back, everyone, to ESPN Northwest Florida's Business Between the Lines. As promised, we have the Bryan Taylor with us from United Way.
Actually,
yeah,
it's
Michael Caladona will argue with me over
it's
that one.
a Bryan Taylor.
A Bryan Taylor.
Because most folks don't recognize my first name's Andrew, so it really is Bryan Taylor. Yeah, I know.
I will remember that next time.
Well, I like the better, though.
Yeah. We might stick with that one, too.
Let's stick with that.
So I told everyone, and you are the perfect person for that, just that philanthropic kind of attitude, personality, and stuff. I know our community has had a lot of struggles lately, and I think even people that do give might have a little stress in that area. So I would love to hear from you just some words of wisdom in that arena, because that is a passion of yours. It is
indeed, and I believe we live in and I've lived in a lot of different places as a Navy kid. I've settled here, but I believe I live in the most generous philanthropic community that I've ever been in before.
That's really cool.
It is a fantastic community. But
you heard it here.
But
awesome.
yes, indeed. However, as a nation, our country is suffering a lot of fatigue, a lot of donor fatigue, whatever you want to call it. It's been a rough couple years for the entire nation, for our nation. Years before that, tough for our area here, and the natural disasters in other places prior to, of course, our beloved Hurricane Michael.
Right.
And it's just been very, very difficult fundraising in these last couple years because of those activities and those things that have happened.
On a lot of different groups and stuff, I see it from the people that give, I see it from the people that are running it, the people that are serving on the boards and stuff, and it's just, you know, what can we do to rejuice us back up and re-motivate that giving spirit, because it is a blessing when you do, you know, when you suck up that anger and that tiredness and that stress, and you're like, you know, I just don't have any more to give. And when you do, what you get back in return, and that feeling, I mean, it gives me goosebumps when I think about it, because it does. It really is a blessing when you can. But We are,
Right.
like you said, we're stretched thin.
And while things have been a challenge for a lot of people have gone above and beyond and done things that you just can't imagine that folks would do, being in the position that we have been put in after
Right.
a storm, and then during the last year and a half, the last 18 months we've been experiencing. But it gives you chills when you think about, I'm thinking at November of 2018, I distinctly remember, or I got a phone call, early, mid-morning, whatever, from a friend at Innovations Credit Union, and says, okay, what are we going to do about our United Way campaign now? And I'm like, what? We just had a Class 5 hurricane come through here, and you want to talk to me about what you're going to... I said, let's do it.
Let's do it.
and that was in my memory anyway, that was the first of many to come that came.
Right.
Just months after the storm, saying, all right, we were getting ready to do this for United Way, for the community, all of our partners, prior to the storm. Well, we still want to do it. And so...
love people like that.
Yes, and it just warmed the spirits.
You're gonna get me all, woo.
And
Because I can remember
and
driving around, we were going to get water and MREs. My son was in the reserves, so he got deployed here, from here, to give out these and stuff. And he was telling us, come in, pick up some boxes and stuff. And we had picked up 2 boxes, and we had picked up a bunch of cases of water and everything. And on our way back, we saw all these people walking down the road and just deer in the headlights look like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing next. And we slowed down. We're like, are you okay? And the first guy we pulled up to, he was like, I don't know. And we're like, where are you going? He's like, I don't know. And it was, that was all we were, and by the time we left, probably maybe 4 more blocks down the road, we had given out everything we had picked up, all of the water that we had picked up, all of the MREs and everything. And I was just like, well, we will figure it out. And we did. We ended up getting twice as much donated. Somebody called me up and said, hey, we're coming down and we're dropping off a whole bunch of this. Can you guys take it? And it was like massive amounts more than what we had just given out. And I was like, yes. And I was like, we're going to give every single one of them out. It does come back. People,
it does.
You don't realize how much that is not an empty saying.
This community is very quick to get from relief to recovery mode as well, and getting those immediate needs taken care of, and to starting to focus on long-term needs. I would say we were a couple of years ahead of the curve prior to COVID, slowing everybody in the country down. But I think, just 2 years after the storm, we were probably where a lot of communities would be after 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And it really made a lot of advance. And now don't be fooled into thinking there's still not work to be done. There are still people, there's still blue tarps on roofs, there's still folks who are suffering from the hurricane effects of the hurricane. But I would say they're fortunate to be here in a community where there are people and organizations to help get them back up and going. And Rebuild Bay County is one of those that I'm really proud of. That long-term recovery organization that was kind of born out of the storm.
Right.
Local nonprofits, faith-based organizations, other civic groups and stuff coming together to create that organization to help meet the unmet needs of individuals. Yeah. Government's over here doing their thing and taking care of the community as a whole, and Rebuild Bay County is over here helping individuals and families and doing things that's not a role necessarily of government to do, which is a different thought that I have. There'll be another conversation for another day because this little more left-leaning person, whatever, doesn't necessarily believe that government should be responsible for taking care of the social.
Right.
Anyway,
should be responsible for taking care
of their communities. That's what makes communities unique.
Right. Yeah. All the families coming together.
Yes.
So I know, I didn't know, it just kind of, when I think about United Way, from knowing you, I've always known what United Way does, but when I was talking with Jayson, he was like, so fundamentally, what is United Way?
Yes,
what did it do for our community?
but I don't know the ins and outs
of
it.
So we are an international organization. 5 or 6 years ago, United Way of America became United Way Worldwide, incorporated with all the other United Ways around the country. So all the local United Ways kind of fall under one realm now. So we have the benefit of that large name, that large presence, that global, recognition. But we're a local United Way, and that's what people need to remember, is that we're an organization of local United Ways. Our local United Way is governed by a local board of directors. We have 26.
Your guys' efforts help our community.
Right. We have 26 members on our board of directors that help direct this United Way into how we're going to serve the people of Bay, Calhoun, Gulf, Holmes, Jackson, and Washington counties. We serve that six county corridor from the border to the Gulf, and now basically everyone in between Walton County and Tallahassee. So we work in partnership with local nonprofit organizations who are really the ones with the boots on the ground out in the field, providing the services to the folks in the community who need it. We're a fundraiser. I mean, that's one of our primary activities, is raising funds to distribute to those organizations to deliver the services out to the people.
Smaller nonprofits that don't really have the ability to have massive fundraisers and gather all these things. Like you guys are experts in that field, and then help out those.
And that's been the spirit and the purpose and the mission behind United Way from its beginning, many years ago, is to do those things, specialize in those things, so that children's homes can take care of children, and medical centers can take care of folks who are in need of that care. So, and you go way back to, you think, orphanages and hospitals, all of those things. That's what United Way was geared towards doing.
So real
and we
quick,
still
if
do a lot of that.
Needed to get information, because I know there's still resources, but I hear from some people that it's hard to find that. What's the easiest way, and where can they go to see all of the services?
211.org. 211 Northwest Florida.org. 211 is it's a phone. They can pick up the phone and call 211, or they could go online and look at 211northwestflorida.org and see direct access to a wealth of those resources.
Thank you, Bryan.
Wow. Thanks so much for being on, Bryan.
You're very welcome.
Guys, stay tuned. Kristi and I will be right back to continue to talk about this community and the amazing things that can be happened here. We'll be right back.
Live and local sports, high school sports, college football, the NFL, the Atlanta Braves, the Dan Patrick Show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, the James Hale Show, the Coach's Daughter Show. Sports, we cover it all. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey, Jayson.
Hey, Kristi.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to ESPN Northwest Florida's Business Between the Lines show. We had Bryan Taylor on with us with United Way, and again, didn't even scratch the surface of what he could have shared with us. So we will definitely make sure to get him back on. But the biggest takeaway, I think, in all of this is I would love to throw out a little perspective out there. We mentioned it a little bit when we were breaking behind the scenes. You guys just don't realize how much stuff goes on.
One day we'll have a studio audience.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But behind the scenes, what we talked about is just that perspective of the struggles that happen sometimes that we don't realize. So I want to bust one of those myths right now with United Way. Yes, he said, we're big, we're national, worldwide now. That does not mean they have everything they need, that they have unlimited resources. The United Way here in our community they're responsible for their own fundraising out of this community and trying to find those out-of-the-box ways to raise funds.
Just because they have the global name doesn't mean that all their money comes from all the other locations,
No, the advertisement that you see, on TV with the football games and stuff like that, that's paid from a global standpoint to get the word out there, to get the brand awareness and stuff. But here locally, that money does not buy Bryan, like he said. He does not have a Learjet waiting in the parking lot to take him.
It's like what he said off camera. He's like, we're a global brand, but locally owned and operated.
Right. So basically what they do when they do all of these fundraisers and stuff is they're helping out all these, I love that, boots on the ground, all these small nonprofits and stuff to make sure that they get those resources to where they need to go. But having said that, and talking about money, it's not always just about the money. So if you're thinking, how can I help United Way? How can I help my community? I don't have 2 pennies to rub together. That is okay, because each of these groups, they have boards, they have volunteers. We did it with Hurricane Michael. We did it with the COVID, with handing out stuff. A lot of them, you don't have to be quote unquote officially an employee or on the staff or a full-time volunteer or anything. You can just say, hey, when's your next event? I'd like to come and help. The Panama City Beach Chamber did that. They reached out to all of their ambassadors and their members and they said, hey, we were asked, there's a bunch of food that's coming in and they need people. They need like 50 to 100 people because there's so much of it and we had to sort it. And we had to get it in boxes.
Need boots on the ground. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen.
It was amazing. And they have it down. I mean, they have a couple key people that are in place, and they're like, it's like this little army. That's like, I need you
There's
here,
a lot
here,
involved
here,
with
do this. And we busted our butts. And I was like, wow, I did not realize all that is involved in just giving out food.
Yeah. I didn't realize that either. Whenever, there was several years ago, I was at a church and we were doing this big food drive thing, which meant like all these semi trucks coming with pallets and pallets and pallets of food. And it was like a clear all the stuff out of the sanctuary, bring all the pallets in and sort everything out. Like it was an army of work to put it together just so that people could drive through and be handed a box of stuff that's already sorted.
Yeah, we had, when I did it, we had like at least like 100 boxes in a row, and then it was like 6 to 8 deep, and then there was a little pathway in between, and you would be given a bag of like oranges, and you would be putting some in the boxes, and then you have to go back and get some more. I will tell you, by the time you got to the end, you're like coming all the way back, pick up as much as you can carry, and go all the way down to the end. I mean, we had boxes of rice and just all kinds of dry goods and fresh fruit and things like that, and it took us hours to sort all of that, and then all the vehicles coming through, it was like boom, 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 and it was gone.
Yeah. So you might be a person where you've got where you've got money to be able to donate, or like you say, you don't have much money to donate, but you can be the boots on the ground sorting stuff out and helping all this happen. Because I mean, you can have $20,000 worth of food on pallets. It's not going to go anywhere unless it's moved around.
Yeah. So being philanthropic, helping out these nonprofits, it's not always about the money. Not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things for a lot of people. It's just a mindset that you just have to shift that mindset a little bit and think, what can I do? What are my skill sets? What can I offer? Look at your company and break it down. It's like some of the things that I offer don't really cost me a lot to provide, maybe labor and stuff like that, but you've got to look at the whole package and think outside the box. What can you offer that would help? Marketing, a nonprofit might not be able to get the word out as much. So offering to help them share their information out there is something that doesn't cost me hardly anything, just a little bit of time. And
if it's in that category of something that you've worked for years to be able to do it, and it's pretty easy to you, but difficult to other people. And it might be like, business owners that you don't have enough money from your business, you're not profitable enough to give away a bunch of money, but maybe your service or your product that you can get and do for a lot cheaper than the average person. Maybe you're giving away a product or giving away a service where you couldn't just give away, cash or something.
Right. It's seriously, it's so important that we all try to help out others as much as we can. No, we can't all walk in everybody else's shoes. You can't, it's not a matter of, I have to understand or I have to, actually do for them something. That's not what we're talking about here. You can just be there as a support to a lot of people, be that sounding board, volunteer. We've got schools that have kids that don't have someone to look up to, and you can supply your time, your wisdom, your knowledge, and be a mentor and stuff. There's so many ways that we can get involved in our community that, yes, money speaks volumes and it helps out a lot for these nonprofits. But if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't have that, so there's nothing I can do, you're thinking the wrong way. There's so much we can do. And like he said, it's my mindset too, and it's his. It's not necessarily the government's responsibility to make all this happen for us.
We're supposed to come together. And like, I love what he said, like, that's what makes communities so special, is that communities support those in their community.
Right.
You know, I feel it's a lot better whenever that happens than whenever, you know, somebody from out of town just comes and swoops in and helps it out. Like, I'd rather be helped by the people who live next door to me.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that after some of our natural disasters that we've had here, one after another. And it's like, oh, I know my neighbor now, you know, and it's like, before you did it, maybe we should not be waiting for a natural disaster to keep spreading that circle of...
Yeah, like, I have a friend of mine, and they were not friends with any of their neighbors, you know, in their neighborhood. Like, they would see him in passing every single day, but wouldn't talk to him. No disputes or anything. They just didn't have a relationship. After the hurricane, suddenly it's like, everybody's around. Okay, we're going to go on your roof and we're going to tarp it. Now we're going to go to this person's roof, and then now they are close with all of their neighbors.
Right.
You know, and that ended up bringing them, you know, a lot closer together.
Yeah, we did that with like our generator. You know, everybody had generators, and all of a sudden a generator failed, and it was like, okay, now we're passing our generator around from house to house to make sure that everybody, you know, here you have it for a little bit, cool down your refrigerator, make sure everything is good, do what you got to do with your electricity, and then it goes to the next person. And it was such a beautiful thing. Yeah. And I wouldn't wish another disaster on our community or any community. But if we could gather that mentality that we had after that and just keep cultivating that.
It's like saying, hey, I have something that can really help you out. Like, a number of times I saw gas cans just being freely, like, oh, you need some gas? The gas can comes with it.
Right.
You don't owe me $5 for the gas can, you know, you can just keep it.
Yeah.
That sort of mentality was amazing.
We have an amazing community. We all just got to come together and keep coming together.
We do. So that's all of our time. We're running out. So huge shout out to our amazing sponsors, Vortex Spring, Highland Finance, Aero Pest Service, who helped this show come together. Guys, if you are like Bryan and you lead an organization, you learned a lot of things, and you want to be able to help other people to know some things. If you're like any of our other guests where you have something that you believe you can share that would be of benefit to the business community around our area, we'd love to have you as a guest. Or if you know somebody, we'd love to have them as a guest. If so, reach out to our Facebook page, Business Between the Lines. Message us on the Facebook page. We'd love to have you on the show. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next Sunday at 8 a.m.
Thanks for listening to Business Between the Lines. Join us every Sunday morning beginning at 8 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.